A lot of people are worried, like, why does this word come out like this? Why is there yo? Why is there 씁니다? And then there is no 씁니다 and no yo. So this is it. So I hope that with today's video, I will resolve a lot of problems that beginners have when they study Korean, because you have probably noticed, if you are a beginner, that sometimes you see the same sentence ending, but it has something more attached to it, right? For example, if you have this verb, 하다, you can see it as 해, you can see it as 해요, you can see it as 합니다. So today we will talk about that. It's called honorifics, or simply put, I would just call it different levels of formality, right? So for example, 해, you would say that to a friend. 해요, you would say to a stranger who is the same age as you. And 합니다, you would use to elders or at work. So we have three levels of formalities in Korean. They are called 반말, 존댓말, 높임말. And it would be informal language, standard language, and formal language. And as I already said a little bit, the first one you would use with friends or girlfriend or boyfriend. Second one you can also use with friends if you want to show them some respect, or friends who go to the same clubs but you are not that close, so you need to be a little bit polite. And the formal language you would use for elders, that is for sure, or at work, right? Where you don't make friends. Even though if you make friends, you still need to keep it formal at work. So here we have a different example, right? In the beginning I did it with 하다. Here we will do it with 먹다, for example. So if you conjugate 먹다 in informal language, it would be 먹어. If you conjugate it in formal language, it would be 먹어요. You probably see this yo a lot in Korean, right? Even in the greeting, 안녕하세요, that is also standard language. Or you could also see 먹다 as 먹습니다. And I will teach you how to do this. How do we create those? So my lessons are mostly in informal, right? Because I encourage speaking and I do not want to do this in standard language, because I also do like stories and it would be weird, you know, when I'm talking for myself, because all I have here is just camera, microphone, and screen. So I use informal language. But if you want to use the standard language, all you need to do is just add yo behind each conjugation. So that's it. You can see some examples here. So for example, we had 해요, 먹어요, you can see 봐요, and it just goes like this. There's not much to say about this, honestly. For formal language, it would be a little bit different, because you can add two things, and it depends again if the verb ends with a consonant or with a vowel. So for example, 하다, we have ha. So you need to add B, I will call B, 니다. So it would be 합니다, and it's pronounced as M. If you have a verb or adjective that ends with a consonant, you need to add 씁니다. As we had 먹다 before, the formal version would be 먹습니다. Let's continue. One more thing we need to talk about is 이다, because that is a little bit different than other verbs and adjectives. And when you have the informal, we already talked about it, you just add 이야 or 야, right? So for example, 사람이야, that would be a person, is, or 남자야, that would be a man, is, right? So you add either of those. For standard language, it's the same thing. You just add 예요 or 이에요. For formal language, this one is a little bit easier. You just add 입니다. They have just one. So why am I talking about 이다 like this? Because in future tense, you use the 것 plus 이다, right? For example, 할 거야. That is 하다 in future, 할. And then you add 것 and 이다, 거야, right? That is 것, thing, plus 이다, 야. So if we take a look at this, here we have 나는 먹을 것이다, right? That is the original thing, not conjugated. And informal would be 나는 먹을 거야. In standard, it would be 저는 먹을 거예요. And informal, it would be 저는 먹을 겁니다, alright? Or 것입니다. Also, when using formal language, it's really common not to conjugate future like this, but to say 저는 먹겠습니다. 겠다, right? That is used quite often in formal language. Okay, one crucial thing that we need to talk about is that formal language uses different words for the same meaning often. So for example, in informal you have 나, that is me, right? Or I. And in formal you would say 저. Also in standard language, right? So don't say 나는, say 저는. Here you can see some more words that are different. For example, 우리, which means ours or we, would be 저희, 저희, 저희. The pronunciation is, it goes back and forth. Next one that we have here is 주다. In formal language, you would say 드리다. Alright, that is to give. 먹다 would be 드시다, 드시다. 자다 would be 주무시다. And 있다 is 계시다. Also, it is a good practice when you speak standard and formal language to add 나 with questions. For example, 밥을 먹었나요? 밥을 먹었나요? So you can use this in informal language as well. 밥을 먹었나? But that is a dialect from Daegu and I would not recommend that because you can come across as aggressive to some people who live in Seoul probably. Yeah, I got that a lot because I lived in Daegu for 2 years and my Korean speech when I speak informal is a little bit rough, I would say. If you ask questions in formal language, however, it's more common to do this. For example, 운동을 합니까? So you don't say 합니다, you just substitute 다 with 가. 합니까? 먹었습니까? Right? Like this. So keep that in mind. If you want to take your formal speech to a next level, the honorific speech, this is really hard to implement. It's easy to use, to understand, but it's hard to think about it as you speak. You simply do that by adding 시다 to the verb. For example, 보다, right? To watch would be 보시다. So for example, you can ask 축구 경기를 보셨나요? So it's done like this. You don't conjugate the verb, you conjugate the 시다, right? And then we add 나 for question. That is a perfect honorific sentence, right? 보셨나요? And if you have a verb that ends in consonant, you need to add before. So it would not be 먹시다, but it would be 먹으시다. 밥을 먹으셨나요? You can ask like that. However, it's better because we are using honorific speech, not 먹다, but 드시다. 밥을 드셨나요? You can ask like that. Or you can also ask 밥을 드셨습니까? That would be perfect. You cannot be more respectful than that. Also, what I would like to mention, because you can see this a lot, 세요, right? You probably wonder what does that mean because it's even in the greeting. 안녕하세요, 안녕히 계세요, 안녕히 가세요. Those are the 3 common greetings, right? So this is from 시다, partly. The 세요 ending means can you do please, right? You can translate it as please do. So 안녕히 계세요 means stay in peace. 안녕히 가세요 means go peacefully, right? Because 계시다 is to be, right? It's 있다. So 계시다 would be 있다 formally. And if you want to ask them to please stay here in peace, then you say 안녕히 계세요. 계시다, 계세요. So you can use this like that. Or also when you go to cafe or something and you order, you can say 아이스 아메리카노 주세요. Give me please. Okay, so this is the meaning behind that. Alright, so how does this all fit together? Because this is a lot of information, right? So basically when you speak about yourself, you never use the 시다 because you address different people with it, the people who do the action. And when you talk about yourself, you don't give yourself that respect. You need to get it from others, right? So this is a little bit smart by Koreans that they did it like this. So if you need to be polite in a conversation and you talk about yourself, just use the 습니다 thing. Okay, so for example, 저는 먹었습니다. If somebody asks, did you eat? 밥을 먹었나? Right? Some old guy can ask you like that. He doesn't need to be formal to you, but you need to be formal to them. So if he asks, 밥을 먹었나? Did you eat? You can say, 네, 먹었습니다. That would be perfect. Or 네, 먹었어요. That can also be fine, but 먹었습니다 is the highest respect you can give. So that would be more safe because some people are really about it. So here we have some example sentences just so you guys know how it sort of works. For example, we have 어머님은 저에게 용돈을 많이 주십니다. So my mother gives me a lot of pocket money, right? 용돈 is pocket money. Next sentence that we have here, 제 친한 친구의 아버님이 공장에서 일하십니다. So my close friend's father works in a factory. That would be the translation of this. Third sentence that we have here, 선생님이 한국어를 잘 가르치십니다. So the teacher is teaching Korean well. We have the 시다 here with 입니다, right? 가르치십니다. So you need to combine it like that. And last sentence that we have here, 할아버님이 거실에서 쉬고 계십니다. Right? So this is 쉬고 있다, is resting. Now, but when you talk formally, you need to use 계시다 instead of 있다. So that's everything that I wanted to tell you today. This is a little bit confusing, but a lot of people are worried, like, why does this word come out like this? Why is there yo? Why is there 씁니다? And then there is no 씁니다 and no yo. So this is it. It is because different people talk different speeches with different people, right? Because somebody is older, somebody is younger, somebody is co-worker, somebody is friend, and that's how it's done. So I hope you learned something today, and leave me a comment. Peace.